so these are notes that are going to go into your PBS course file. So this is going to overlap with AP Biology with probability. So this goes in PBS course file. All right, so first we have some important terms. Some of them might sound familiar, at least I hope they sound familiar, but we're still going to write them down anyway. So a chromosome is a structure that the DNA is carried on. Chromosome is the structure. Chromatid is a duplicate or a copy of DNA. Chromatid duplicate. So a chromatid is a copy of the DNA. Chromatin is the strand of the nucleotides. Chromatin is a strand of DNA. It's the nucleotides in the strand. A gene is a section of DNA. An allele is a variation of a gene. For example, eye color is the trait, is the gene. Brown, blue, green, those are alleles. Those are variations of eye color. A dominant allele is a characteristic that's shown if the dominant allele is present. The dominant allele is represented with a capital letter. The dominant characteristic, the dominant allele, if that capital letter, if that allele is there, then that's what you see. Recessive allele, this is a characteristic shown only if two recessive alleles are present. It's represented with a lowercase letter. You will only see the recessive characteristic, only see the recessive allele if there are only recessive alleles in the genotype. Phenotype are observed characteristics, what you see here, smell, taste, touch. Genotype are the genes. Genotypes are represented by two letters. We have two genes, so we have two letters. We have two genes because one came from mom and one came from dad. Half DNA comes from mom, half DNA comes from dad. Homozygous. Homozygous, that means the same. So we have the same letters in the genotype, whether it's capital letters or lowercase letters. They're both the same. Heterozygous means we have one of each, one capital and one lowercase. All right. So Punnett squares show the probability that an offspring will have a trait. We use Punnett squares only to find probability. Remember that probability kind of starts over with each individual occurrence. So if you flip a coin, it's a 50-50 chance that it lands on heads or tails. But if you pick that coin up and flip it again, it's still a 50-50 chance. So it can land on heads again. And you pick the coin up and you flip it again, once again, it's a 50-50 chance for heads or tails. So Punnett squares just simply show probability that, of your outcomes. So in this situation, capital G is green seeds, lowercase g means yellow seeds. We're going to cross a homozygous yellow seeded plant with a heterozygous plant. Homozygous yellow seed plant is crossed with a heterozygous plant. So homozygous means the same. Homozygous yellow seeds, lowercase g is yellow seeds. Homozygous means the same. So I have a homozygous yellow seed plant crossed with heterozygous. Heterozygous means one of each, so capital and lowercase. I fill in the Punnett square. Everything on the top goes into the boxes directly below it. So this goes here and here. Everything on the side goes into the boxes directly to the right. So this goes here and here only. This goes here and here only. So if we look at probability, we've got 50% green, 50% yellow. 2 out of 4 green, 2 out of 4 yellow. Sex-linked traits, these are characteristics on the sex chromosomes, typically on the X chromosome. In this situation, X and Y matter, so they must be part of the Punnett square or the pedigree. Sex-linked traits are more common in males because they can't be carriers. For a sex-linked trait, they either have it or they don't. In this situation for color blindness, X and Y indicates male genotype. Capital C is normal color vision, lowercase c is colorblind vision. So this male is colorblind. This male is not colorblind. Colorblindness is a recessive trait as well, and so that's why we're using the lowercase letters. But since they only have one X, and because colorblindness trait is carried on the X, Y doesn't help at all. It's just like we're just looking at that X chromosome and what they have on their one X chromosome to determine whether or not they have colorblindness.